It wasn't that much for me. It was about 12. So it was almost like $100 a month. But he told me to wait till we get closer, because they need to know like what type of plumbing you have in the house, what is this, blah blah blah. The more stuff you know about that, it matters for some reason. I don't know why it matters, but it matters for some
Because
reason.
of a bust and leaks or something like that.
Yeah. So they have a whole bunch of different but you know, when you have multiple things on your insurance, it's cheaper. Because they're like, oh, you're doing the double up, or you know, oh, you're doing triple stuff. So when I dropped the renters from the 116 that I paid for the 2 cars, because I did that safe driver thing too, where I plugged this shit up to my car and then sent it to them, that knocked off 20%. And honestly, Progressive has been going down every month. I don't get any accidents, no claims, and I've only had them.
Safe thing, good. Cause man, I see traffic a lot.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's not really looking for how much time you really sit in traffic, but it's looking like how you stop. When you hit the hard brake, you know, and see it probably
speed.
Yeah, it's probably checking for the speed too. But it says it's more or less to see if you're a safe driver as far as when you stop or if you're swerving and switching lane. It basically does all type of computer reads and stuff.
I also want the fucking GPS in my.
Yeah, that part sucks, but it was only for like a couple weeks though. Like I think it was like 3 months. You don't keep it on that long. They just monitor you for like 90 days or maybe 60 days, and then you send it back to them. They just want to see how you drive. So in that time frame, you could just do your regular little shit. And then once you send it back, you can start driving like an asshole again. That's what I was doing, but that shit started messing up my computer in my car. So I sent it back mine, and I just left it in my wife's car. But she was working in specs at the time, so she would only drive like 8 miles a week. So to them, when they saw that, they're like, "Oh yeah, they're not even driving that much." So they took that 20% off. And then I was paying like $133, and then when I renewed, it went down to like $120 something, and now it's like $116. It goes down by. I didn't have to call back to let them know.
I pay like $110 for both of us, and we both have full coverage though.
Yeah, see, that's good.
We live in Katy, so that. And when you're married, it's cheaper too.
Yeah, when you throw that in, I've been telling them I've been married since I had my insurance years ago, man. I've been telling them that. Yeah, they don't even ask for your wife's information. You don't want to put it on there, but anytime they ask that question on the insurance, they don't verify. So it's like, are you married? Hell yeah, I'm married. Why not? Okay, it's another discount. Okay, it's a little bit cheaper. My dumb ass didn't realize I wasn't paying for AAA.
I thought Progressive gives that to you for free.
Dog, I know for a fact when we were going over these options, I told them AAA. Now, whether the chick put it into the system or not, I don't know. When I call back, so I get stuck in a ditch, right? Downtown, decide I want to go on like a little Friday night. It's about to rain though, so I was gonna take my wife. She doesn't like to ride the bikes at night, but every time I go to taco truck, she wants me to bring her tacos. So I was like, all right. So for like date night, we were just riding around, going from like taco stand to taco stand and shit like that. So I'll take her to Taco Quito, and then we was trying to go to La Macra. Man, I went down this little street, passed it up because I didn't realize he wasn't in his normal spot. So the address that I had, you have to, it was almost like by White Oak, on the backside of White Oak Music Hall. So there's like a little side street. So I passed it up. I'm like, because GPS like, turn right, turn this way, dude. I was like, this old dumbass shit don't know where we're going. So then I had to take a piss. So I hopped out the car, take a piss. Starts raining. My glasses get foggy from the inside to out. It's hot, cold. Jump in the whip. Couldn't see shit. Thought I had enough to, you know how you think you have enough to ride in the ditch just a little bit and come back out? Yeah. This how the ditch was. So I couldn't see shit. I went over there thinking, I'm on 2 wheels. Back end's in the air. The back end's in the air. And the right side driver wheel is in the air too. Car wheels just spinning because
it's a front wheel drive car.
Yeah, but I'm still in drive. I said, oh shit. So I come back, I'm like, fuck. I'm like thinking I'm all bent up. So my Mexican homies came through in the clutch for me, and helped me out with that. Because I called AAA And I'm like, hey, yeah, I need a tow truck. He like, it's gonna be $90. I was like, no, I don't have free towing or the towing. He like, they like, nah, it ain't on your insurance plan. I was like, hell no, nah. You gotta be bugging, man. He like, nah, man, I could call back and check. Call back and check. He like, yeah, boss, they say you don't have it. It's gonna be $90. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna call you back if we can't get it out when my friends get here. He was like, all right, just call me directly. Boom. They get there. My two little SA people hop in there. He like, man. He looked at it. He like, come here. We all jumped in the trunk and put my back tires on the ground. And for whatever reason, when we did that, she was able to just reverse right out that bitch, man. We got right out that ditch.
Mexicans always have figured it out.
Dog, blessings to them, man, because I ain't want to spend that $90. You know what I'm saying? So we left there and went to go buy more tacos. But I called the next day, like back to the insurance. I called the next day and added that shit back. It was like $3 a month. That's why I was like, why would I not add this? Because he's like, yeah, it's $12 or $15 for the policy, blah, 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 every 6 months, whatever the hell it is when they renew you. Like, dog, I was like, man, if you don't add that shit on there. He like, okay, well, you can't use it for 9 days. I was like, dog, I don't give a shit when I can use it. But it's essential that I have that, you know what I mean? Like, but I done well with Progressive, though. Progressive is treating me fair, man. State Farm tried to hike me up. Like after the hurricane. Yeah, man. They raised me I went from like 180 something to 190 to 209 to 230 something. I had to call them like, wait.
Yeah.
That's almost like a $60 jump. I'm gonna have to let y'all go. But I still do use them for my classic car insurance for my old school because it's $25 a month. And it's directly through State Farm versus with Progressive, they go through Haggerty. So Haggerty does like a lot of classics and boats and all kind of other shit. You know what I mean? So it's third party, still State Farm, but then it's third party. So I just went through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but that mortgage crap is crazy though. Trying to get approved for it. Before we get in that though. Welcome to Planet Pert, where you can get it free, where you got to be a G. Like a Newport Short in Louisiana Parish Jail. I ain't got no filter. Episode number 26. 526 coming up. B-Day. I probably won't be here next week, though, because I have a busy week of moving and doing whatever. Yeah. Next week is going to be pretty jam-packed for me, man. I got to do a bunch of scrambling and move. Oh, you moving? Oh, y'all moving soon.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Have y'all closed already?
We closed Thursday.
Nice.
So I'm gonna take advantage of that time and just.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I can't take any more time off work. So.
Yeah. Go ahead and knock it off, man. Get it over with, man. How's it the sale on the other house though? Is it?
It's 7 days behind ours.
Okay, perfect, man. That's perfect, dude.
Yeah, so we have time to.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of lapse, so.
That's perfect.
You just had to have more money up front. That's the thing that sucks, but. It's not a big deal.
Well, not if you go get it back on the back.
You can get it back, yeah. But yeah. So, but our finance guy worked out a deal where it's actually cheaper to only put 10% down versus 20.
Okay.
My finance rate is cheaper with 10% than if I put 20%.
For the house? For the finance rate, like
yeah.
Okay. So what are you hitting for right now?
I'm at 4 with 10%. If I put 20% down, it's 4.3.
Okay.
I didn't get that, but he worked something out.
See, the rates have dropped again because I called my guy up because the mortgage company on paper, they were trying to hit me for 489. So I sent it. I know. So I straight up, right? So I was like, man, something's not right about this. So I sent it over to my guy. He's like, man, they're charging you $3,000 for origination fee. I was like, what the hell is that? He was like, I have no clue, but we don't charge for that. So we went back and forth over the paperwork. He said, man, I can get you at the, high threes right now. Rates are low.
Rates are
which
low,
389, so a full point lower.
Rates are low right now.
Rates are low right now. I was like, really? He was like, yeah. And I was like, well, let's do that. Let me call my guy back and see if I go with you. Will they still give money? The mortgage, well, the house, not the mortgage company. He's like, yeah, they only throw $5,000 on there. So I was like, okay. He was like, we put the other 4, so you could do it, but we're not paying more than 4. So I hit my man back like, Shit, they said they could do it, but they ain't paying over 4. He was like, man, I'll get you a way better loan than what they're giving you for $4,000. So as long as I didn't have to pay for it, I was like, well, shit, we could battle it out then. Because if he tell me 389 and you get to calling them back and or some other shit and be like, hey, well, shit, man, he say 389. Y'all could do 35. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they can't, they miss out on the money. But if they can,
always
cool.
will. That's the thing about
yeah.
That's the thing about business. Somebody always will.
If you can do 3.5,
I'm not, dog, with the 389. That's why I'm like really trying. I was really hoping that the shit would have been ready now, because you can't lock in the rates outside of 60 to 45 days. Mm-hmm. So I still have another month before I can even start.
Yeah, see, I'm locked in right now.
Considering locking in. But I mean, if you say 4,
yeah,
4, I mean, 389. You know, the difference is like $4 a month, Pat.
Yeah,
we just talked about that. Like, it's not. But the difference between that full point is $103 a month, which I was like, okay, because the first year on our house, because it's brand new, our taxes are low as hell. But your taxes are low as hell because they can only tax an empty lot. There's nothing on the lot.
Yeah.
So next year, this shit's gonna
up.
jump up. So we're talking $1,800 a month versus $1,700 a month. Well, I'm gonna still end up paying 18 plus anyway versus paying 2 G's. You know what I mean? So I understood the whole mathematical.
I was lucky, man. My sister is in real estate. She's actually about to purchase a house. She's actually building the house right now. Mm-hmm. Or like thinking about it, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she's actually in the business, so she kind of just steered us here and there when it was time. And so it was one of those things where it's all about when you lock in. Yeah. And then it's the per month. I don't know. I'm lucky. Mary knows how much everything costs.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are they making you pay a PMI?
Yeah, that's the only problem. That's the only problem.
That's what.
It sucks.
Well, yeah, it is. But like the thing is, because when he got with me, I was like, "Look, we're still waiting to sell this house, and the closing is off." I was like, "So, is there a way we can do a promise that the money's gonna go in there?"
Okay.
So he worked some deals out, and he's like, since you're a first time buyer, he said my wife can't be on the mortgage at all because
no, she already owned the house.
She already owns a house.
Yes,
and the income, and since she's her own boss, she has no proof of much income.
Right.
And so he's like, you want to be on here, but put her on the deed.
That's what they keep telling me, put it on the title, but
yeah. And and so I was like, okay, and then like he sent me like this different charts, and he goes, if you put 10% down versus 20% down, you're only paying, I think it's $100 more a month with 10% down versus 20,
right? With
the PMI. I'm like, the PMI is only $45 a month.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
because ours is ridiculous.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, so what about when I put after we sell this house, I put the remainder of the 20 down. Mm-hmm. He's like, call me up and we'll remove the PMI.
Yeah, because you'll be at 20%.
Yeah, so I won't have to pay a PMI.
What did you do?
Tell them to stop taking it.
Did you do?
Like, they're not going to tell you that, but you have to call them up
and let them know.
Yeah, you have to like write a letter and all that stuff, but it's worth it because he and also I can do a recast, which recast is, say if I after you sell this house and I put another 10% down or even 15, whatever, you call them, you pay them $100, and they recast your loan to where it drops my payments to the remainder.
How many years are you going to do?
We're going to do 30, but we're going to pay it off early. Yeah,
that's the plan too.
I'm not going to recast because.
What's your total on that?
Is
for the house?
214.
214.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll be somewhere near that 20%. Did you go conventional or FHA?
Conventional.
See. Yeah. So that's once you hit that 20% anyway, you could have called them up and had them drop it off. See, with me on the FHA, I haven't really just figured out which loan I'm going to do yet. Because the difference is, for the first time home buyer, regardless of the fact, I can do conventional, but I'd have to put more money down, which is not going to be an issue because for the next 3 months, I don't have any bills.
Yeah.
I'm moving to my mom's house.
Yeah, factor in the closing costs. Those closing costs sneak up on you.
They do, but I'm already good on but see, that's why I'm already good on everything as far as the mortgage company goes, because with it being a new house, they're putting money towards that too.
Okay.
So they're already putting money towards that. And the house that I purchased for 201 or 202 is actually selling for 222 on HAR right now. So I'm already seeing what's going on. That's why I wanted to get a new house, because I've already, if I can go conventional, and in a year's time when they come and they do their new tax rate and they charge me for a $240,000 house or a $230,000 house, I've already got my 20% equity. So then I can go back and redo the loan and drop the PMI.
Yeah.
So there's a couple different ways to get off that PMI, but you're actually doing it the right way though, because our PMI is way higher. But you're putting it when you're putting so much money down. That's the reason why yours will come in lower, because they look at you like a lower risk factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he worked out to where like so when that PMI goes away for 10% down, it comes out to like $80 something more a month or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then
yeah.
And so it's like, it's worth it because I don't have to struggle up and get all that money right now, stress over that.
Yeah.
And if I didn't feel like putting the rest down, we use that for other stuff, like paying off cars and whatnot.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
And that might be more beneficial, is have no car notes for.
I think you should do that because.
And then paying more on the house.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say, because either way it go, right? So that's what I did, right? I dropped $6,000 on my car to pay it off. I had another year to go, another year and some months. So I dropped $6,000 and I left like $1,600. So I gave him five. And now when I paid my shit, my interest says $17 for the month. I was like, wow, that's crazy how much, because they charge you for a daily rate when you get a car. It's not a set interest rate like it would be for a credit card or something like that. So they were charging me all these years for this recently $3.69 per day interest on the car.
I just realized.
Ain't that crazy? It's per day.
Yeah.
They ain't explain that shit to me when I bought the car. They just tell you how much your payment is. You be like, yeah. But you actually pay per day. So and I'll let you go. If you pay that car off, you go end up saving yourself thousands of dollars, bro, on the backside. And then, because if you have the money, pay it off now. And then when you get your bread in, just save that bread. But you will be taxed if you don't put that money that you get from the house back into, if you put it back into it, like another house. Let's just say you sold a house for $150, and if you put that $150 back into another house, then you don't get taxed on it. But if you keep that money, you got to pay taxes. I don't know if they told you that. I don't know if you knew that. Okay, I just don't want the tax man knocking on your door talking about, well, my money, son. You want pancakes? It's my house, nigga.
And that was one thing. We're about to go into a buyer's market. We're going to have a seller's market right now. We're about to go into a buyer's, transitioning right now.
That's why rates are low, and I'm happy.
And the thing is, the neighborhood we looked in, the house we found in, it's an older home. Like I said, you look at a house for one day it's been on the market, you go, oh my God, we'll make an offer in this house.
Yeah,
make an offer, someone beat us to it.
Yeah,
that's how fast it was going, and people are paying, like we had to pay asking.
Yes,
our realtor said, don't even lowball because you ain't gonna get this house.
Right.
And our house, they offered asking.
Yeah,
so we took it.
Yeah,
there's some contingencies that we have to work into that they want.
Yeah,
and but what I'm learning is getting closer and closer to a buyer's market.
Yes,
to where you're going to have to. If we would sell this house right now, next month we'd probably have to drop the price down some.
Yes, but
then again, the house that we're going to buy probably get it for cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like for us, it's
a back and forth game too. It's a back and forth,
right.
It is.
Yeah, for us, it's like, it is. It's a win-lose because we're buying and selling.
Yes.
So we're going to get fucked on one and win on the other.
Because I can buy that house I have now and it may sell HAR this year for $220, whatever, $230, whatever the hell is that. And then next year it's selling for $200. You know what I mean? So but don't lose faith in that either though, because the market always flexes and goes up and down.
Well, this time of year, it's always May and June. April, May, and June, it's always a buyer's market, seller's market, because people are selling because their kids are getting out of school. And that's what people are buying.
It's a lot of houses in West Chase that have been for sale forever. So my wife asked me,
it's too damn expensive and it floods.
Even on the Westheimer, like closer to the Westheimer side, I don't think it's that, dog. I think it's the fact that the same thing that you just said. The older people are retiring and they're moving out towards the boondocks to be in solitude, right? And there's not enough families moving into these neighborhoods. And I'll be frank with you, it's classism too, because they keep them at $300 because they're like, who's really gonna want to pay $2,500 a month to live, just to say you live on Westheimer, when I can go for $300K. I can go to Hockley, I can go to 99, I can go somewhere else and get the little mini mansion for $300K.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, it's gonna take the people who are like the people that live in that Memorial Wilcrest neighborhood, who keep that neighborhood white. You know, I'm not lying. That neighborhood's been white forever. Those houses are $600K. Some of them are $800, $1 million. There's one that's been for sale over there since I've been looking, over a year and a half now. It's still for sale over there because they want $900K for it, right there on Apple and fucking Wilcrest. That first red light when you come past when you come past Memorial coming from 10. That house to the left right there.
Because you're about to knock it down.
And it's only they just remodeled it.
No, and they need that money back.
And it's only 2,000 square feet. But it has a pool.
I don't know. Pools are all right. You gotta have a pool.
Us off.
Well, you gotta have a pool before you. It has to be part of the house, because if not, you're gonna take a loss.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I realize without DeAndre, I'm just not as cheap as both of y'all. Like, I don't care about any dime that has been paid, or like, I don't even know. I just saw y'all just break it down on camera, like with like per month stuff, and I have no fucking clue.
Mortgage companies, they will fucking give you gray motherfucking hair.
No, it's one of those things where I learned very, very early in my marriage that I don't.
Yeah, you're just not the finance guy, though.
No, it's not that I'm not, because like I have veto power and I have overall.
That's not what I'm talking about.
All looking, but no, and I hear you. It's just one of those things where
no interest.
I don't have an interest.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. Like, growing up where I was just worried about shit just staying on, and then when mom got that handled and we didn't have to worry about that anymore, it was like, all right, that's one less thing to worry about. And now I don't even care. Like, I don't even know how much I really get paid. Like, and I haven't known for years.
And I tell you why we know is because me and him are going through the same thing where we're on the mortgage, just us. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that would never happen. Mary would never let that happen.
Well, to save money, it makes more sense, because if not, they would have had to have that 20% down. Yeah, right off the bat. Like, the next house that you buy, you got to have, because so this is the reason why we know that, is because we had to do the stupid home buyers class. We got the mortgage company who's like 1,000 mosquitoes sucking everything out of you that they possibly suck. I've never felt so uncomfortable sending so many documents in my life, dude, with social security numbers, driver's license, tax from the last 2 years. Then you have to sign a form where they can pull up your returns, show where the money's coming from.
Dude.
Oh, man. Like,
so that you can pay for 30 years to somebody that you'll never meet.
No.
And...
So that's why we know.
And they make more money. They make more money if you default.
The thing about it is,
yes.
Like, my finance guy is stressful, but at the same time, he's doing all that to keep my interest rate low.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So it's you're working for that. But like when he says you need something, you got to jump and send it to him.
Yeah, I did a little pre-workout on that, right? So last March is when I first started looking. to really maybe around this time, really, because I saw a picture that came up. It was really around this time of year last year. I started looking to see if I could buy a house and even qualify to buy a house, and what did I need. And my homie put me down with this dude, and that's the guy that I'm working with now. That's with the lower rates, Danito, man, from Sequoia Mortgage. Shout out to him, because that dude, he worked with you. But he sent me like a whole list of stuff. And so what I did was IT, right? All right, I can get most of this stuff. My W-2s, I log in at ADAP, download, paychecks right there too, download.
Yeah, it's easy nowadays.
Everything that I could possibly need. You know, you could take a picture with your phone of your ID and any other documents that they may need in that regard. So it's not like I have to go to Kinko's and scan. So to me to find all those documents, I sent him more shit than he needed, and I labeled it too. So he was like, oh, yeah, shit, I got everything right here. And he started working those numbers and then putting those numbers together for me. So when I went, you know, that house fell through. Didn't end up getting that house. When we circled back around and started looking in January of this year into the new neighborhood when they broke ground, I already knew what the other company needed already. And then they have a portal to where they'll send you an email and say, hey, sign these docs, log in, put your social in, whatever, put your birthday, you log in there, you send those docs over. But it did seem like it was nonstop, because they're like, okay, well, you got a 401k. Well, send me this document from the 401k. And I was like, I already gave y'all that already. They're like, oh, well, I need a document saying that you could pull the money out too. I'm like, dude, I could pull all this money out. Like Longview doesn't do like most companies. I can pull all my money out with no penalty.
Yeah, same here, about to pay him back in 60 days or something like that.
I don't know, I have to pay it back. No, I could pull all mine out and not have to pay it back.
There's a rate if you borrow against it. Like, to pull out is one thing. To borrow against it is another.
No, I could just pull it out.
Yeah, but like most people, they keep it in there.
Yeah, of course.
And then they borrow against it onto their loan, and that's how they usually put down their down payment.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. So I'm pulling mine out, but to help the DTI, I'm actually debt to income ratio. I'm actually paying it back over a 15-year span, which is like $40 a check. But you end up paying interest back, right? But it's interest back into your own pocket. So technically, you're paying yourself interest on money that you borrow. So it's kind of like actually putting a little bit extra in there too, though, in the same sense. But now I could pay it back sooner if I want to, but there's no necessity for me to. But at least in the meantime, because when you can't put that extra income on the mortgage, that shit bites me in the ass. And mainly because it was mainly because of child support and that car note. That's why I had to get rid of the car note. So something had to go. See, you're lucky because you don't have kids. If I didn't, I could have got a $250,000 loan, just me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I had to kind of maneuver and work and twerk that shit, man. Yeah, we're just trying to be informative, Trey, trying to let the people know. I know you don't pay your own bill.
Oh, man.
You don't balance the check.
I don't.
We try to help
this
the
guy.
people. That's what I wanted to come here and talk about.
He called me. He's like,
I got you.
I need last 6 months of your savings.
No, I got you. It's
I'm
just
like,
one
why
of those
last 6
things.
months of your savings? He's like, we need to make sure that you're not borrowing the money to prove that you have it. I'm like, what does it matter where I get the money from?
They need to know. They need to know.
He's like, all we can know is like right before closing, you're giving that money back to your dad or someone.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
So they want proof that you're good at saving.
So
Also that you can pay them for 30 years.
yes. And I don't have a savings.
So 12 times 30 years, they're over trying to verify that you're going to be able to do that.
They want to make sure that I had.
No, I'm saying this is what they're actually doing. Because
Yeah.
like I get it all. I hear what you're saying. I understand the math of it.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I've already done that multiple times. But the thing is that what they're doing is because so many people in the 80s and 90s were running drug money through it.
Yes.
And because Houston had one of those collapses of savings and loans.
They was washing.
Right. And so it's now actually because even though we're cheaper than most parts, but it's harder.
Yeah.
And so it's just very, very interesting to hear, like, once you do the most paperwork that you'll ever do in your whole entire life.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, all right.
Yeah.
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 And it's all just to pay Like, you don't have to do all that shit for a car.
No.
Or anything like that.
Hell
You'll
no.
change your car before you change your house.
I don't think they've invalidated my check stubs when I went to buy a car.
And
It was Sunday. How could you?
And so it's like one of those
OBS
things
is
when
closed.
the more you buy, the more different things you buy, you just go, wow, y'all
You also got to
are
remember.
worried about it's like, how did things work before you could just go to the portal?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even keep their check stubs.
Yeah.
I mean,
What you did was you actually was able to just go to the mortgage company with the paycheck stubs and a couple utility bills, and then you were able to get the loan. There was no credit check. There was none of this other stuff. They looked at your check,
And that's why they had foreclosures.
Yes, but that's why they changed the whole risk rate, and when the government bailed them out and did all this other stuff, they changed some of the rules to where the private mortgage insurance, if you let that shit slide, because the lady was like, yeah, you could just pay off your house in 10, 20 years. I'm like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, lady.
does she tell you how you're going to do that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what she was like, yeah, just send in an extra payment or just make sure you do this and do that. And I said, or you could wait or pay, you could let tax time roll around. Let's say you got a house for $150 to build up to knock off 20% of that is not going to happen in the first 5 years. You're probably only going to knock off about $8 or $9 grand at a 150, depending on what your interest rate is. You're not going to knock off that much. But if you took those tax returns and you threw them back into, especially if you're on the lower class,
tax returns than I do.
No, my wife does. I don't like, and now I will. Now I will with the other stuff because I got the mortgage certificate. I don't know if you got that, but that was something that I had add on the mortgage certificate. Before I get back to what I was saying, the mortgage certificate will allow you to get from like $1,500 to $2,500 additional dollars back each year. It was like an extra $1,000 or something like that on the closing costs, but who really gave a fuck? Because beneficially, you're going to end up banking that money on the back end once you get the money back from the taxes. I mean, the interest that you pay on the house, and then you do the mortgage certificate. So me, I only get about $1,000 back a year. So now I start getting about $3,000 to $4,000 back a year with just me on there, which is pretty cool. But what was I talking about?
No.
Before that,
We
was
were
on
talking about paying it off early.
Oh yeah. So back to that. Like I was telling the lady, I was like, she got mad because she worked for Chase Bank, of course, and then I was like, well, once you build up 20% equity, whether that's through payment or the house is worth more, then you can just go and refinance and drop off the private mortgage insurance. And she was like, yeah, he's right, but I mean, why not just make the payments to the? I was like, well, private mortgage insurance is like $100, $200 a month. I was like, shit, let's go halfway at $150 over 30 years. You just threw away $70,000. I was like, I don't know how y'all feel, but that's a lot of money. She's like, yeah, but if you refinance, then you have to do the loan all over again. Okay. And if it's still going to save you more money in the long run, because with that extra $70,000, guess what I could do? Now the little extra shit you're talking about, making an extra payment. Guess where that money's coming from? Because I'm already used to making, a $1,500 payment. Now I only have to make a little $1,350. Guess what I can still do? Pay what? The extra. See, and then over the course of those years, you'll end up chopping it down so where you're not paying 30 years, and at least that 150 is going towards your fucking house. So she's just sitting there looking at me like, well, everybody doesn't see the numbers like you. He kept trying to brush me to the side, like I wasn't, but I was there for the fight. I am. So I just kept like picking at it.
The thing is, when you do a refi, you still have to pay closing costs.
Yeah. I mean, you can it. So here's the thing, right? Because if you build up equity on the house, you could technically refinance. Let's say you pay $200 for a house and it's worth $250 now. You can actually walk away with that $50. So the closing costs on the house again could actually come back from the $50 that you could just throw right back into the house too, though. So you know what I mean? So it's like there's so many ways to finesse it, dude. And I always tell my homies, I was like, man, I see how the money moves now. Once I understand this whole housing thing, I see how the money moves now. So you think, okay, on my second house, I got to put $200,000 down. Yeah, now if you do what I just said, if you bought it for $2 and it's worth $3 by the time you're ready to sell it, you're walking away with $100, right? Regardless of the fact that doesn't even include the debt that you put into it in the amount of years. So you're walking away with $100,000+. So 20% down on my new house that's 200 is nothing. I don't really give a shit. I'll drop the whole 100 back on the house. So now I got a house that I'm paying $100K back. Then I'll do a 15-year. It's so many ways to maneuver that money, but I understand like how the money works and how the money moves from those courses, and then just from teaching myself too. I think that's the reason why they make us take some of that stuff too, so you can get a clear understanding. If you don't actually open your eyes up to it and listen to that, you'll never know why you're paying that much money.
But people don't really know until they go through the process.
Yes. Yes.
And that's just really the part of it about real estate that people don't really understand.
Yeah.
Like, because commercial real estate is a whole different beast with that, because it's just more money down for longer terms.
But see, let's just say, okay, so I was wondering why, like, if you did that, right, let's just say in a 10-year span, you bought a house for 200, worth 3, you're like, man, I could walk away. It's a seller's market right now. Mm-hmm. People are buying 3, the house of the street just sold, right? And you want to walk away from that, right? And then get into flipping houses. Guess what? You can go back to an apartment if you fucking wanted to, because now you got $100K where you can go buy a house. But
there's stipulations. Like you have to be there for a minimum of 5 years.
5 years. That's what I said, 10 years.
And then you have the HOAs. The HOAs basically goes, and what usually happens on people who try to run that model, just honestly, is that there's some type of major repair that needs to be done.
Yeah, of course. No, that's fine. Fix the house up.
Some people will borrow again. Some people will create that PMI and borrow against that. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of different ways to maneuver money. The thing is that any house, man, there's a period where things break, and there's a period where things are good, and so you just save for when things break.
Yes. I'm just looking at the long overhaul of how you could eventually end up making money off of your house, because in 10 years from now, all our kids will be out of school, out of college. So if we wanted to say, you know what, I want to get a condo, we want to start our own business, or whatever adventure that you want to do in life, you could walk away from it. So it's not that you're trapped and tied into it, but you do have to know how to work the money and work the system, though. I mean, I get exactly what you're saying.
Oh, I've learned from a lot of different people.
There's a lot of different things you could do.
I had great mentors who taught me how to invest along the way.
I just learned all this shit, man. I was just excited to let everybody else know. I know it may be boring to some people, but it's if you're in the market, it's good information to know and to have. My little sister's in this other program called NACA, where she's actually paying. You can buy down your interest rate. It's no money down too. But there's certain stipulations and things like that, and it's not even income based, and they don't really go off your credit. It's like, but they tell you how much house they're gonna mortgage you out for. You know what I mean? Like how much you could spend. So they look at all your stuff and be like, all right, Pat, nah, 200, I'm not doing that. I'll give you a house you can go do 180. And you're like, nah, I need to. See, that's why I was kind of like, I don't want nobody telling me what to do. Even if I can buy down the interest rate, you could buy it all the way down to 0.5, depending on the down payment that you put down on the house. So essentially, you could be paying all principal on the crib with no PMI. So you could do like a 15-year at that point. You know what I mean? So it's
good to keep cash on hand, though.
It's cool, man. But there is a certain stipulation in that where they kind of put a lien on your house for like X amount of years, and till they see you're on top of your shit, though. You know what I mean? So there's a bunch of different programs out there, man. It's crazy.
Like that's what all the programs are for. Is just to how to reclaim the house if needed.
Yes.
And so that's what you're signing. There's stipulations for if shit goes sideways.
Yeah. I mean, again, man, the HUD houses, Habitat Humanity. And when I was doing my class, they told us about 45. It was one for 30, then another one for a total of 17. So about $47,000 that you can get from the city for these houses. And they try to keep these houses around 150, well in the range of the lower class for them to be able to afford those houses and stuff like that. But I just made too much money and I didn't qualify that. The ones that I qualified for, the percentage chance of actually getting approved were really, really low. But these other things is from Wells Fargo, where they put like, you know, they go from city to city and they'll invest you know, 100 million to Houston, 100 million to Chicago, 100 million to these cities, to where they can put together these programs in order to help out the lower end, man. I thought that was pretty cool. And when I was there I did mine in Fifth Ward Community Center. But it was informative, but I had already, you know how our brain works. We want to, especially when we want to find something out. I had already been to the back of the internet, did my own little free class that they had online. So like I was really bored to death in class. Just like, man, can you just give me my certificate so I can go home?
I had to take mine was like a 6-hour course I did on the internet.
Mine was 8 in person, but it was an hour for lunch too. We left way before we left. I ain't trying to snitch on them, but we left early too. But we did get all the information in, and it's mainly because some of like the people weren't there. So we had a realtor come through. We had the mortgage lady come through, and you know, so forth and so on. So we did get to have real questions with real people too. And she taught us some little tricks for like the credit stuff, which I still pass along to other people, because I think that's the end game of when people don't know. Like when we went Sunday just to take a look at the houses they were building and get into that whole groove, like, you know, people start texting my wife or her friends, is like, hey, how did y'all, you know, what do I need to do? And I had student loans, and like, yeah, you just need to start paying them.
Do you have student loans?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
You just need to start paying. I wasn't paying the ass. When I started paying them, my credit went up. It was that simple. I consolidated them, and that looked like I paid them. And then the other loan, I just pay on that loan. So I think I'm on like a 9 or 10 year payment plan. It's income driven. So depending on how much I pay for my mortgage, when I fill out all this paperwork, how much money I make, they tell me how much money I could pay them. So it was as low as $290. Now it's $309. When I get the house, I'm gonna put all that information on there, and it may go back down to $200 and something. They just want to get paid. They don't really give a shit how much money I'm paying them over. And then I only have to make like 138 payments, which sounds like, dog, that's a lot of payments. But nigga, like if you break it down and divide it by 12, is, you know, it's a couple years. But yeah, you just pay them. And I think I might be exaggerating on 138. I don't think I have that many payments left. Because when last time I looked, it was maybe like 9 years or something like that I had left to pay it. Yeah. So
student loans are expensive though.
They are, and the problem is kids are expensive. So you think lawyers are expensive, kids are. You pay a retain on those fucking kids.
Man, I got all three over.
Yeah, right.
I got a woman with a doctorate, bro.
Yeah, it's very well. Trey knows too, but it's a bitch, man. And student loans, man, because when I got out of school, we were in the middle of a recession. Couldn't find a job to save the fucking life of me, right? Couldn't pay them back. So it's like defer. Did that for the 5 years you could do it. Found out you can still defer it, but at this point, now they're charging interest. Now they're doing this and doing that. So everything started to go up more. As these things start to go up more, I still couldn't pay them because I'm paying child support for 3 kids. I'm only making $8 an hour, $9 an hour at that time. Then when I started moving up, I was only making $15 an hour. So I had enough just to pay child support, the bills, and, you know, buy a bottle of liquor every now and then and throw $20 of gas a week in your car and groceries, and you broke, you know. Until you get out of that fucking situation, there was not much I can do. They would call me and I'd be like, hey, man, look, I can't pay y'all. I was like, we'll do another hardship. So I procrastinated for 10 years. So I went from owing $17,000 to $40,000.
That's still a good range. I would like to have that range.
Yeah, I know y'all shit's crazy.
I went to a private school, dude. I'm highly educated. My wife is highly educated. My kids will be highly educated too.
Hey, man, I'm there for you.
It's the way it is.
I'm there for you, but that 17, nigga, I could have paid that off. I probably have like, that's what it took like 3 or 4 years versus.
It's one of those things that I learned a long time ago, especially when you don't have, especially when the money is steady. Let's just say that, right?
Okay.
So when the money is steady, it's really what do you want to spend the money on? But it's all designed ways to get the money out. Yeah. It's just how do you want to spend the money? Yeah. It's very rare to have it to where like I live on an allowance, as you know.
Yeah.
I keep it in allowance. So I like no matter how I go up or down, left or right, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
And so Jay-Z said you can't afford it unless you can have it twice.
That's facts.
And so like
That's
now
facts.
it's like I just think about a lot of different things where it's like, all right. And it's easy and it's like it's funny because there's the child support, there's the kids, there's the house, there's improvements on the house. It's all this in other different ways. And so that's why I always explain to people, the more you make, it doesn't really matter. You just find another reason to spend it.
Yes.
To have a pool is the pool maintenance. Have a trampoline in the back, then like now your insurance has gone up because somebody's going to break their leg. Yep. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those things where it's just like, so unfortunately it doesn't interest me because I know what the end goal is. Yeah. It's just to take the money. Yes. And I don't like making it. All right. That's fun. That's fun to make money. Yeah. Yeah. But like I don't want to worry about it because I know that it can all be gone in 1 second. Yes. It can all, like the best laid plans of mice and men. Yes. As I think it was Steinbeck who said it.
I think see me, I agree with everything you said, right? But there's investments and things that you can put.
I think that people should people should invest, and I think especially in the minority communities. Oh yeah. Like screw that. Anybody below a certain tax bracket should know basic investment structures. Like the things that you were spouting off, like people should know what PMI is. They should know the basic acronyms.
That's the whole point of this. I know it may be nerdy to people for this week, but this is what I want to talk about. It's one of those
things where like people hopefully will get through there. I don't know. I always just caution people when they go through it all. It's just think long term. Yes. Because you can do anything. Like once you have a show, you can do everything. My whole thing is about land now. You know, that's my big. Yeah. I'm fucking thing. With you on that. Well, it's like I have other goals. Yeah. And so like where some people have the house and those goals, that wasn't for me. Yeah. I have a different goal in the long term. And some people like, and that's just another thing is like, you got to educate yourself because like some people will go and buy a brick and mortar for their business and not realize that there are certain taxes and fees associated with it. And then that's a whole nother way to lose the money.
Well, I got into this debate a long time ago with someone. He mixed my words up. It was over fucking social media. Like,
surprise.
Yeah. And like he said something about buying a house. And I said, buying a house isn't always a good option. He like took my words and said, buying a house, you're saying that buying a house isn't smart. I'm like, I didn't say that. It's not always a good option. He's like, what? And he wouldn't let me talk or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm like,
of course.
2008 is perfect example for that.
Yeah.
All those foreclosures were not educated. They didn't understand the whole flex rate. Yeah. Those balloon rates.
It wasn't just that. You got to think a lot of people.
No, those balloon rates were fucking people.
But a lot of people found out that they could afford a house.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of those people couldn't afford the house.
But nobody tells you that because there's a whole industry.
But nowadays they do.
They kind of don't.
No, they have to now.
Yeah, they have to.
No, that's the reason why we have to take that class.
Here's the deal: everybody who goes into
I haven't seen a balloon rate.
I hear you. It's not a balloon rate. It's not just the balloon rate that I'm talking about. Okay. It's that. Can you afford this amount of house, right? Yeah, so people go in there and like let's just take the builder scenario, right? Yeah, when you go in there, you go over into the room after you're done where you get to pick out your cabinets, you get to pick out your counters, you get to pick out all these different things. Right. And so they just start going, well, it's only this a month. It's only this a month. And so at the end, right, you just had $150,000 shell. Yeah. Right. That is now $210,000. Right, because of all the features and all the different things that you're putting, the recess lighting, they got me on putting the cable into every every room had a wall where there was a cable outlet. And hangable on top of that.
Yeah.
Knowing how big my TVs are, you know that wouldn't have flown.
Right.
And so, but it's like I was going to go, all right, there you go. Here we are. There we are. And so at the end, you get done with all this, right? So back in those days, this is back before the kids even. Like I wouldn't have been able to afford that house over the life of the 7 years it took.
Right.
And it was because at that time, right, I still wasn't even making that much money, right?
Right.
Like they were pushing me through each little phase to where at the end, I was going to be in it. And so all those people who got caught up, right, they were in it. Or something unfortunate happened, like somebody lost a job, right?
That was a big part of that too. Yeah,
because nobody ever tells you that the reason why the housing industry is so important and why we have to still participate in it is that it's a pillar of our economy. It is a basic pillar of our economy.
It really is.
Whether it's lumber or everything associated. Like you're in construction, but you don't lift up a hammer any given time of your day. You know what I mean? But it's a pillar where everything is so connected.
Yeah.
So right now, it's a buyer's market, and the reason why is because a lot of people are. It was a seller's market right now, but it's about to be a buyer's market because now everybody has their kids are out of school, right? So anybody who's going to make a move is going to make the move, right?
Right.
And so then the inventory is going to flood for a moment, right? Because everybody's moving, right? And so that's when the prices are low, and then soon it dries up. Also, you got oil's doing well right now.
Right. Yeah.
When oil's doing well, Houston's doing wonderful.
Yeah.
But even when it was doing bad, though, 3 years ago, we still were fucking on top.
It was pretty they were still like. There's been a lot of consolidations.
Development was still going crazy.
Yeah, but it was way down because when my mom bought her house, that shit was 150. That shit's they going for like 180 in her neighborhood. So she, it's crazy. She already she already has the 20% equity because her house is worth 180 now. So she already has that 20% equity I was telling about. So with her being so young and alone, if she wanted to go back and refinance with rates being low and all that other stuff, she could actually drop her payment if she wanted to. I don't think her payment's that much though, because again, you get what you can afford. But at that time, they were just sticking people in houses.
They were.
And then the recessions and all these other things hit. What I was going to get into as far as like having a backup, that's why they love when you have a 401k, because regardless of, even if you pull the loan out for the house, you can still pull another hardship loan out if you needed to pay your mortgage and dig deep into that bag if unemployment wasn't enough or it took you a while to find a job. I have an old school that I can get $15,000 for if I wanted to at any time, right? And if I really need to push it out there, I can get 10, and that's enough to pay my mortgage, for a nice while, right? So always have reserves is what they call them. So always have some sort of reserves intact, and people back then weren't really having reserves because they were spending so much money just on the house itself. And when those rates were going up and down, when they were fucking people, really, that's why everything is fixed now. Always fixed, man. Like anything you do, your lights, you better do fix. You do that fucking flex shit where you're paying in the wintertime, you're paying 8-9 cents a kilowatt, but in the summertime, they bump you up to 15-16 cents a kilowatt. That's how they kill people and pull extra money. There's a lot of things you could do to save yourself money and cut corners and cut those edges. Even with the State Farm shit, when they raised me from 180 to 230, I was like, dog, that's $50 a month. That's $600 a year. I'm just giving y'all. Said I got to switch. He's like, man, I understand. Do what you got to do. Look at your finances and see if there's another way. When people who want to go too big on houses, because that happened to a lot of people, man, fucking get a roommate. I don't give a shit if you're married. You got a room downstairs. Somebody may need some. There's always a solution to some of these problems, right? But don't let pride get in the way of you losing your investment. And if all else fails, you can do what's called a short sale, where you can call a mortgage company, say, man, look, I've been here for 10 years. I lost my job. I have enough to pay the mortgage for the next couple months. What do you say we do a short sale? and we let the house go for, let's say it's a $200,000 house, you put a little dent into the payments, they've already received more principal, more interest in principal from you. They could so basically they already received enough of their money, right? $40,000, $50,000 of their money. You can be like, man, I just want to just let it fly for 160, 170. And when you see those on HAR or Redfin and anything like that, those short sales, they're letting those things fly for that 170, 160 because they just want to get out of their mortgage and not have any default or any penalties towards them. So it's either that or you just sell the motherfucker. You know, if you've been living there for 10 years, you'll walk away with, you know, maybe like 12 grand or, you know, somewhere around, because it'll be a little bit more than that, because after 5 years, they said after 5 years we would have paid $16,000 in $16,000 in principal, but like something obscene. It was like 80 or 60 or whatever the fuck it is. You do the math. It was crazy in interest, and you really don't start paying the house off and down until year 19 in that loan. So anything you pay, that's why those extra payments are important. You know, they're essential to you basically buying down your interest rate, because once they get all their money on the top side, the interest rates won't be so bad for you, man. So it's just a whole bunch of different strategies, man. I just tell people to do what's best for you. Look into the programs if you're on the lower income side, and do the classes, man, and get the knowledge and learn.
A whole bunch of different programs to do.
I could have did zero money down too.
Yeah, but
the loan was more, and the mortgage was more.
My buddy Cisco, he owned a house a while back, but he sold it. I think it was 5 years ago. Anyways, he bought a brand new house in Acres Homes, and he got first time buyer again, zero down with zero
fuck you do
PMI
that?
Because gentrified neighborhood. So he has it's like $215,000 house.
Okay.
Zero down, zero PMI, and he also got like a 3%.
Okay. Yeah.
And a first time buyer.
Yeah. See? I mean,
there's all these different programs out there. You just gotta talk. If your mortgage guy is good, he'll work.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My guy is, like I can take my little $9,000 down payment and just really get that pool table I want. All brand new furniture, and just spend it frivolously, man.
No, that's one of the worst things I've ever heard you say. Like, you're putting $9,000 on a house. Put the $9,000 on the house, man. Like, I don't tell anybody how to spend. On this whole podcast, this is probably the quietest you ever sit, because you never ever hear me say what to do with your money. Because your money is not my money. Well, I mean, and if it was my money, then
what I'm saying is you could deck the house out without
nobody get. See, here's the deal that I'm gonna
because you get it out of the way. Go ahead, Trey. Go ahead.
I got money game. I'm gonna let you go for it, right? When you got money, the motherfucker's just gonna come on over. Right? Because you're the motherfucker with money. All right? If you got money, you can be junky. But guess what? Everybody's going to fucking be there. Yeah. When you got money, nobody gives a fuck about your Italian sofa or anybody like that. It's either what color is it, what color is not.
We're not doing
that. People who don't have it and who are judging, those are the motherfuckers that are worried about it. You need to be watching all the motherfuckers. Because now you have just ascended to another level. And the more that you ascend, people are just watching. Yeah, but people are judging.
You have to understand. Think about your first move, right? Yeah. To the other house when you're just filling out the field, right? Yeah. When leaving an apartment, I really don't want to take a lot of shit with me.
We have shit from when Mary. We got shit from Mary's.
My shit's old, bro.
Old when her bachelor.
My shit's old.
We still have all of her shit. I mean, and we replace it all. But
where's the old couch at? In the garage.
No, that one's that one's theirs. Other people see. This is another thing. When you have a big fucking house, everybody will store shit at your house because then you become the guy with the big fucking house who has storage.
I got you
right, and so like it's one of those things like having a truck. People are always going to ask you to move. People are always going to ask you to hold shit. Yeah, people are always Like, dude, the more you go up, you got wider problems.
Yes, I'm taking my bedrooms. Like my bedroom set is like a couple years old. My couch and stuff is in. I have that same couch that y'all have here and there. Like it's the same style. It's 7 years old.
Yeah, because we got it all off of Craigslist back in the day.
I got mine for rooms to go.
We got rooms to go for that one.
Of that. But
everything.
It's still in great condition is what I'm saying. Like or it's in fair condition to where honestly, if I wanted to sell the shit, I probably could still sell it and make a couple $100. But I wanted to hang on to it because I'm undecided on what I want to do in that upstairs room. Now, if I don't have to spend, if I understand what you're saying, because I could just take a zero money down, right? And then
that's a good move.
I know, but the difference is not that much, right? But
all right.
But you will be stuck paying that PMI for the whole. Like there's certain stipulations in some of these loans, right? To where if you go with this loan, then it's like you can't really get up out of it without some major shit happening, right? But if I took a zero money down and if I still put the $9,000 or even $10,000 down on principal though, because zero money down. So that first month, if I wanted to, I could send in a little, that mortgage payment and then cut that check to go to principal. And then now you take yourself down.
No, man, you're thinking about small figures, man.
I'm not talking about small figures. I'm just talking about chopping out those lumps, right? Because this is what I told my wife about that, right? Every tax season, if everything goes accordingly and, and it goes the way it went this year with the amount of money that we booked in, like we could actually take $4,000 and just play principal every tax, four on principal every tax and still have a nice amount of money left over. I'm not going to go into how much money we would have, but we'll have a nice amount of money left over for throughout the year as well. So if I did that for 5 years, try to just knock 20,000 off. I don't knock 20,000 off if I just pay my regular mortgage for 5 years. This is on top. This is on top of the 16. So now the 16 that I told you about with the 5 years and the interest and everything.
You should do an extra payment. So if you do 13 payments, it cuts off your interest so much more on your overall.
They actually say make one big payment a year, don't pay extra a month.
So
I just broke it.
Yeah. It's because it's with the interest. You like say. Like pay the $4,000 every January versus paying $100 extra a month or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So just to lump it up, but I'm just telling you I'm trying to speed through and just get it done and over with, because the faster you get done and over with, right, now you own it. Now that's straight equity and you're building up more equity too. So as the deal is I never really lose that $4,000 paying all interest. And the reason is because I just get that back on equity because I'm paying straight principal. So everything I put on the principal side of it, guess what's still available for me if I just say, you know what, I want to take an equity loan out, home equity loan out. That same fucking over 5 years, that same 20,000 that I just put into that, I can go pull that money back. I'm not saying I want to, but you in some dire need or some shit, you can go pull that money right back up off of there though. So there is an investment when it comes down to that. I think it's one of the major investments, right? Right now I'm walking away from an apartment that I've dumped over $80,000 into and I walk away with $0 fucking dollars, dude. $0. And that doesn't even count for all the apartments that we've had through our teenage years, our 20s. Like, dog, we start doing that. We're like, well, damn, Pert, I moved there in 2012. I started going back to 2001 when I had my first apartment. We talking about 18 years of rent and trade where Pert probably threw away $200K plus. Rent was a little cheaper back then, but I threw away a house. You feel me? Like that's why I was telling you about when Carlton and motherfucking Kobe and everybody else, like that's my plan to own those things and to have those things. That way it gives them a jump start later in life, whether it's through life insurance, owning the houses, having them sell it when they're older, rent it out, do whatever the fuck they want to do with it, but it's going to give them a jump start. I think that's just the model. Like that's where all of that stuff goes. It goes back into the next gen. But if you can help them become successful at a younger age, and at 25, if they're buying their house, shit, we're almost damn near 40 now, if not there. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about that, that could have been 15 years of paying on something. Your kids could have been 25. Then first shit was a house, 15 years. They only got half to go. By the time they're 45, man, the crib's paid for. You know what I mean? Like with the right amount of money dumped into it, by the time they're 45, 50, that crib could be paid for, bro. 60 if they want to do the whole 30. You know, I'm just breaking the numbers down.
We all know that Trey 2's life will be totally different.
Yes, but
Trey 1.
we got to make it. That's why I preach. That's why I preach.
Nah, I hear you. You're over trying to spread the
not to you, but
the word
everybody.
to everybody. And the thing is that like hopefully you started the journey for some.
Right.
Hopefully you.
I'm not here to save them though.
Few.
But I am here to do exactly what you just said. Yes, I am here for that.
I understand. I sat here. I listened. Mm-hmm. All right. Like we all know, I invest, man. I invest.
Yeah, I see.
I'm all about the next generation and what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I think that
we all
a lot
are.
of people don't wonder. I mean, yeah, you plan for a rainy day, but I don't know. I think that you should diversify all investments. You should be doing precious metals as well as different other things.
We got some other stuff coming.
Just because somebody told me a long time ago, right? So you go out there and you buy, at the point where we started, silver was 25 an ounce.
Yeah, I remember.
And so what you do is that you just take that $100, you go buy 4 ounces of silver. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you keep doing that. You do that every pay period. Right? Okay.
I was going to say you're going to take a lot of silver, but go ahead.
You'd be surprised how much silver you have in year 6.
Yes. Now
you take that, you start flipping some of that into gold. Then you have gold on hand.
See, we'll get into those.
Emeralds are worth more than diamonds. Nobody will ever tell you
that's my birthstone.
But you got to hang out with a whole bunch of Jewish people from Antwerp, and they'll tell you.
Emeralds cost some bread.
And so that's the thing that, everybody's on. A lot of people come up, and they always ask for advice. And the thing is that, I don't know, there's $1 million ways. There's 1 million ways to get $1. Mm-hmm. Right? There's 50 million ways to save that dollar or spend that dollar. Okay. All right. So if you're going to spend that $1, spend it to where at least you still have that value of $1.
I got you. Yeah.
And a lot of people, they'll buy something for $1 that only really is 50 cents.
Yes.
And so it's like, you got to start thinking about things like that.
The 30,000 I spent for the Honda.
You think about cars, right? Cars,
nowhere near that now. 5,000 right now for the.
You take out a loan, let's just say 20,000 to keep the math, right? Mm-hmm. It goes down to 15 once you drive it off
the lot. Yeah, it's already down.
And so now you're still paying 20, but you're really paying the interest on that 20.
To 30.
So now you're going to go to 27, 30. Yeah. Right, and so you're paying for a $30,000 car.
Yes.
Also, that you can have a symbol in your driveway.
Yes.
That's not me. That's Jack Johnson. He said a symbol in my driveway.
I before we go, I did that investment because I needed a new car. Number one, I was spending hundreds of bucks for water pumps, this, that, every month on my car. So I was like, in my mind, I said, dog, all this money you blowing on the fucking car, fixing this car every month, you just pay a car note. So I went to get the car, had $5,000 down. They made me. And I got slammed on an 18% loan that I could not refinance. See, they were banking. My homie said, "You know what they're doing, right?" I said, "Yeah." They was banking that I failed. I was paying $450 a month for my Honda, like no bullshit. And I paid that consistently for the last 5 years. I have one payment left, You just gotta eat it. That's
450 is not that high though.
450 for a Honda that already had 30,000 miles on it. It wasn't even brand new. Like they wouldn't even put me in a new car unless I wanted to get a fucking van. And I was like, no, I'm not getting a fucking van. Looked at the Honda. I was like, all right, all my cars before that was Cadillacs. Like I wanted to, that's where I'm going to end back up at one day. But I want to buy a brand new, do the maintenance and do it like the white people do it. Because they're nice cars, but you have to do the maintenance on them. If you don't, they go kaputs. Once they go kaputs, the whole car is fucked up. Not the point. The point is I knew I was buying. The lady said, man, you have no credit. You have to buy your credit back. Wasn't paying the student loans. Had a couple old light bills on there. Had a couple old credit cards from some retail places. I know she wasn't lying because I pulled my credit report up before I even went up there, and it was shit out the gate, 5 something, wherever it was at, 585, which I know now is not the worst, but I got slammed with an 18, and when I called to ask could I refinance at some point, they was like, oh, no, the type of loan you got, you didn't get that. You didn't get that option. So basically, I didn't even get that option. So I was stuck with that loan even when my credit got back right. And then I tried to go to someone to refinance it. By the time I got the credit right and try to do the refinancing, it wasn't worth them because they was only going to make about $1,000 refinancing me for 2 years. And they just didn't want that $1,000. They were basically like, no, we can't do you. Sorry. Finish paying the 18%.
My interest rate's only 1.5 on my truck.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, I was doing the math. For me to pay it off early, it's really not that beneficial.
It's not at 1.5. Yeah,
because I'm only paying like what, $20 a month on interest.
Then that's what I'm paying now. Yes.
Yeah, and so it's like what we were talking about earlier. Is like, should we take the money from the house and pay it off? Because my wife's car is only at 1% interest rate. Her car makes $130 a month.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because she got into a wreck and her car got totaled, so she just put that $7,000. It was paid off. And she got a $15,000 car.
Yeah.
And she has 1%. I have 1.5. So it's one of those things. Like, I always heard if your interest rate on a car is under 3%, there's no sense of paying it.
Yeah.
Because you're not really paying the interest off that much quicker. You're more beneficial putting that money somewhere else so you can get more money, more.
I know more
of a return.
The next time I go get a car, if I'm not getting the rate you're talking about, especially after we make, 6 or 7, 9 mortgage payments, our shit's going to jump up anyway. Pay everything else consistently. You'll be in an 800 plus club. And then that's when you can go there for the 1% and like that.
So what would you get? Ooh. See, and that's just the thing. See, that's where, like, when I hear people, that's why I don't even talk money, because
no, you actually question. What would I get?
Warren Buffett, same car that he drives. Yeah, he has other cars.
Nah, I mean, cars go bad, Trey. Like,
he has
keep it
other
above.
cars.
Let's keep it above.
But he keeps like that same car that is just going back and forth.
Not getting rid of the Honda anytime soon.
He gets something very, very simple.
It's
very, very interesting.
Not getting rid of the Honda anytime soon.
When somebody has better credit, better income, we always got to go buy. Always got to buy the thing.
You got to remember this right here, right? This is my last rant about this, and we'll sign out. My car, I need to keep for another 6 years.
It's a Honda. I'll do it.
Yeah, I know. No, I know. And the way I drive it is like a grandpa.
Yeah.
I get my oil change, do my little maintenance on there that I need to do. Everything, right? So I only need to get about another 5 or 6 years out of there, because I have a 13-year-old and I'm about to have a 12-year-old. That means that car note payment that you're thinking about is already going to be freed up. And by that time, I'll probably be in the position to where I want a new car anyway, because I'll need a new car. Because when you get to the point where you're spending more money on repairs than you do for a note, you gotta make a boss move at times. I mean, if your transmission went out and then the motor went out, you would trust me. I know, but not the
full stress alone that goes with it.
I don't do stuff on my cars. Like,
I know, but
if it has anything
of course
wrong, I just trade it.
What I'm saying is,
I don't give a fuck about cars.
You're not going. I know, but you're not going to, like, I don't need to force out, like, get the house and then get a car. No. I think we're thinking two different things.
No, I'm saying that people shouldn't do that.
Oh no, nigga, I'm free now. Like, I just got rid of that goddamn car. No,
I know you have kids, man.
Free,
you got all
man,
types
and
of
I got
things.
babies everywhere that I got to take care of. Like once all of my kids are grown, then we'll get to that level. Then I have so much.
Yeah,
I'll have so much more.
You want that
so much more
money.
free. Yes, but I'm already looking down that line, bro. So everything else. That's when the extra payments for me is really going to boost and accelerate on the house because I've already been paying the fucking child support money anyway. So why not just dump the money back into something? So it's not going to take me 30 years to pay my house out. God willing that I stay healthy and I can work and keep doing the same shit that I'm doing on this grind. It's not going to take me 30 years. I already have a plan. I have it worked out. I insist that y'all get a plan. Y'all get it worked out. And Planet Pert Podcast, episode number 26, man. We on our financial shit, man. I like this.
Thank you for tuning in to the Planet Pert Podcast. Shout out, Stu. This is a always press record production.